Hi everyone, so today we're going to go over 7.3, which is factoring expressions with three terms. Now, when we're talking about factoring an expression with three terms, you're most likely going to have an ax squared term, a bx term, and a c term. Now, to factorize this quadratic expression, we're looking for factors of c, so two numbers that multiply to c, and those same two numbers must add to b. So the b term being the one with the x and the c term being the number on the end. So looking at our example, x squared plus 5x plus 6, our b is equal to 5 and our c is equal to 6. So I'm looking for numbers that multiply to 6 and that add to 5. So the two numbers that we can use for this particular example is 2 and 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. So now what we do with those two numbers is we are going to split this 5x into two terms. So I'm going to keep my x squared, but in the middle here I'm going to have 3x plus 2x. So this 5x is getting split into those two terms, and then I'm going to keep the plus 6 on the end. Now I'm going to factorize by grouping two terms together. So I have my x squared plus 3x grouped and my 2x plus 6 grouped. Now I'm going to factorize each of these separately by pulling out the highest common factor. So with the x squared plus 3x, my highest common factor is an x. So an x comes out the front of the bracket. And then to figure out what's left in the bracket, you're going to divide these two terms, so the x squared and the 3x, by x. So x squared divided by x is just x, and 3x divided by x, those x's are going to cancel out, and we're going to be left with the 3. Now we move on to the 2x plus 6. My highest common factor is 2, and it's a positive 2, which is why I'm putting this plus 2 here. Now dividing 2x by 2 just leaves me with x, and dividing 6 by 2 leaves me with 3. Now as you can notice, these two brackets are the same. So now I'm going to factorize my x plus 3 out of my equation. So my x plus 3 comes out the front. And then my next bracket, which we're going to multiply these brackets together, so there's no sign in the middle, is going to be the leftovers. So this x on the outside and this plus 2 on the outside, they come into my second bracket. So completing a second example, my b term for this equation is 10 and my c term is equal to 24. Now my two terms that multiply to c and add to 10 are going to be 6 and 4. So 6 times 4 is equal to 24, and 6 plus 4 is equal to 10, which means that it works. That's exactly what we want. So putting those into our equation, I have x squared plus 6x plus 4x plus 24, remembering that this 10x gets split into the two terms that we picked, and remembering to put an x with each of these as well. So grouping them, I just like to group the ones next to each other. So my highest common factor between x squared and 6x is x, and inside the bracket I get left with x plus 6. For the 4x and 24, my highest common factor is positive 4. So I'm going to be left with x plus 6 in the bracket. Now again, I've ended up with two brackets that look the same, and you can only do this if the two brackets are the same. I'm going to take out my common factor of x plus 6, and in the bracket next to it, I'm going to be left with x plus 4. Okay, now moving down to factorizing non-monic quadratic trinomials. So when we're referring to something as non-monic, it means that that number next to the x squared is bigger than 1. So, however, what we are going to do now, how that changes things for us is instead of just finding two factors that multiply to c, we're going to multiply a and c first and then find two numbers that multiply to a and c. So we're looking for factors of a and c that sum to b. So they're still adding to that number in the middle. So applying that to our example, the 6 is my a, so that's what we're looking at when we have a non-monic. Last time when we were looking at these examples, we just had x squared by itself. With non-monic examples, this number out the front is bigger than 1. So we have 6 and negative 10. So my AC is 6 times negative 10, which is equal to negative 60. And my B term is negative 11. Okay, so now we want two numbers that multiply to 60 and two numbers that add to negative 11. So okay, so those two factors that we are looking for are negative 15 and positive 4. Now, when negatives come into play here, you need to be really careful which numbers are negative. So checking that everything is equaling what we want it to. Negative 15 times 4 is equal to negative 60. It's going to stay negative because I have one negative and one positive. And then negative 15 plus 4 is equal to negative 11. So checking that that's all right, now I can go ahead and factorize. So I'm still going to keep my 6x squared. Then that negative 11x is going to get broken down into plus 4x minus 15x, and then keeping that minus 10 on the side. So grouping my two factors again. My common factor between 6x squared and 4x is 2x. So I have a common factor with the x's and a number as well. So I'm pulling out a 2x. Now 6x squared divided by 2x is 3x, because 6 divided by 2 is 3, and x squared divided by x is just x. And then 4x divided by 2x is plus 2. Now, the common factor between negative 15x and negative 10 is going to be negative 5. Now, the reason you're taking out negative 5 and not just positive 5 is because I want my brackets to be matching. If I didn't take out the negative, I wouldn't be ending up with a positive 2 over here. But that does take a little bit of practice. So negative 15x divided by negative 5 is going to give me positive 3x, and then negative 10 divided by negative 5 is going to give me positive 2. And again, we've conveniently ended up with the same brackets. So we're going to take out our common factor of 3x plus 2, and then the leftovers, the 2x minus 5, come into a separate bracket over here.